record this. There we go. So yeah, we're just gonna let some people pop in. And yeah, we're gonna talk about Skuttlebot. So first thing is that a lot of you have been following Skuttlebot for a little while. You guys know him. He's the little yellow robot that sings and dances and chats, and he's actually out in the background right here. You'll see one of his big brothers dancing and moving around. I'm testing him out. So yeah, we are actually pushing hard to make Skuttlebot an actual product. We're hoping to launch a Kickstarter by the mid of this year, and we want to get that in people's hands by we're shooting for Christmas. So we are at the phase right now where we're heavily pushing advertising. We're getting budget for advertising right now, and then that's going to fuel our launch. And a big portion of this has been folks on our social media channels and people that have popped in and helped out, and that's just been incredible. We wouldn't be doing this without all of you guys involved. So and it's been a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of go through real quick a couple of slides about Skuttlebot, what we're trying to do, and why we're trying to do it. So give me 1 second and I will set that up. This is kind of cool. Okay. There we go. Look, now I'm down here, down in the bottom. Okay, so what do we, what is Skuttlebot? Skuttlebot's all about making cool robots. That's what, he's entertained many of you guys for a while now. And we want to keep doing that. In fact, we want to get him out into everybody's hands. So that's a big factor of what we're doing. Now, the question is, why don't we have cool robots yet? And that's really what we're trying to solve. Why don't we have cool robots? We've got plenty of examples of what cool robots are. We've created what we think is a pretty cool robot, but we don't have those in reality yet. Instead we have kind of, we've got Roombas, we've got things that are kind of boring. Either that, or we've got really, really cute toys that are just toys and they end up being paperweights on your desk. And those aren't real helpful to what we're trying to do or what we're trying to make. People don't want things cluttering their desk. A lot of those new robots that are coming out, they're cute and they're cool, and then they don't do anything. You lose interest in them, and that's telling us that that's not what we want as a robot. We really feel that robots, especially in the home, need to actually provide utility over time. They have to do something for you. And they also have to have a personality. They need to actually connect and engage. We want a little robot that can talk to us, that can be mischievous, that can move around the house. And design's important too. Skuttlebot has intentionally gone with a kind of a almost a crab-like or a droid-like look. We're not trying to look like a puppy, and people have responded really, really well to that. We don't look like a weird little baby or anything like that. So yeah, this is part of where we think that Skuttlebot's already been really, really successful and shown a lot of positive response from you all. I mean, it's why we have 5 million views and things like that. So, which is absolutely outstanding. So as you know, Skuttlebot's already doing like both utility and character. That's what we are portraying in our stories when we're talking about Skuttlebot and making Skuttlebot content, and it's what we're actually developing. So we actually want Skuttlebot to be able to talk to you and have a conversation. We want Skuttlebot to be able to work with your apps. Tell Skuttlebot to, hey, film me on TikTok. And he'll use his camera to film you and record that for you and then post it for your approval. So take pictures, play music for you, dance. These are all things that we kind of want Skuttlebot to be able to do, and it's what we're working on right now. Really awesome thing, and some of this is going to go a little bit more in the investor route because that is an option of how you can support Skuttlebot. So we get into a little bit of details here, but Skuttlebot has shown repeated viral, acceptance online. Not only have we just like exploded organically when we posted certain content, but we have also been exploring advertising. And it sounds weird, and you won't know this unless you're in marketing, but we get lead generations of about 70 to 60 cents per lead, which is really, really, really good. So that just shows that we can keep advertising, we can keep doing this kind of stuff, and we already get a lot better market response than your typical other product. So that's cool. And obviously, thanks to folks on TikTok, thanks to folks here, we've had like the 5 million impressions just through, largely social media. This is just kind of us putting it out there without really a plan. And we've had this amazing social media response. So that keeps us really, really focused on moving forward. One thing that we are definitely making Skuttlebot is we are making Skuttlebot into a human-focused robotics company. That is important to us. We see the way a lot of the algorithms work. We see the way that we use machines, the way that we use tools, and we feel like we can do something different. Ultimately, people are very competitive, and we are tool makers, and that's one of the things we've just done effectively over time. That's why we're at the top of the food chain. But now that we're starting to make AI, now that we're starting to make things like that, if we teach our algorithms to be competitive, in the same way that we're competitive, that probably won't work out super well for us. That's a huge thing with what we're doing with Skuttlebot. We are really creating the AI so that it actually focuses on the health and human happiness of human beings, of the people that we're working with. We want technology to learn how to be our friends, basically. So that's a huge portion of why we're doing Skuttlebot. We want Skuttlebot to be able to engage with you and kind of know how you're doing and do what it can to actually make sure that you continue to be happy and positive. That's a big difference than the machine learning algorithms that right now that are saying, hey, let's figure out how we can addict people to, your little dopamine and your serotonin by, swiping enough, or, let's figure out what upsets you, because we know that you'll share that with your friends because you're tribal based. So that's how some of the prior algorithms have worked. And this is something that we definitely want to do better with Skuttlebot. It's part of our mission statement and why we think it's so important. By the way, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I am watching that. So I'm seeing people pop in, I'm seeing likes, but go ahead and ask questions too. I'll try to answer those. At least while Skuttlebot lets me keep talking. Big thing. This is kind of a fun slide, but it's a little silly. One of the things that we really want to avoid is the Terminator scenario, and this is kind of what we were talking about, where we keep making tools that are competitive, and we only think about the competitive. We only think about getting ahead of the next competitor. Then we end up in a situation like this, which is not as positive as we want to see. So again, we're looking for Skuttlebot to be around positive, healthy inputs. We want it to learn how to empathically communicate back and forth with the users and do gestures so that we can communicate back with it in the same way. We feel that companies that are going to be focusing on this kind of ethical AI is going to be super important in the next couple of years. This has to happen, basically, and we would prefer us to be one of those groups that are doing that. Again, we're going to talk a little bit more on the financial side because some people are going to be considering investing in us, so that's important. So, is there a market? and how do we reach that? And this also answers some questions that I think some of you have asked me regarding when can I buy Skuttlebot and how much will Skuttlebot cost and things like that. So first of all, yes, there's a market. We've done our market research, and the domestic robotic market is expected to hit 20 billion by 2027. That's in the United States. We've got, 300 million people of us. About 85% of us have a smartphone. We're using, some sort of digital assistant. So that's a big factor. A lot of us are doing that. So we've already got domestic robotics, we've got digital assistants, and then we've just seen some huge increases in large language learning models like ChatGPT, which yes, we're integrating with that, or we'll make something better. But we're already starting to work with that to have Skuttlebot be able to talk. So those are three huge things that are happening right now, and combined, we easily think that, in the next 3 to 5 years, about 50% of the population is going to be using some sort of a digital assistant or some sort of AI, or have some sort of robotics in the home. And that's what we talk about as a serviceable, available market. How many people could we possibly do that? Or how many people could we connect with? So this is what a lot of folks have asked. When can I buy Skuttlebot? When will we be launching that? So I'm gonna slide over a little bit. So what we're doing right now in April is we're doing what's called a seed raise, or possibly pre-seed, depending on how you want to define this. So that's where we're looking for initial funding. This is why we've recently launched a regulation crowdfunding effort, which I'll talk to in a little bit. By May, we really want to start hitting our pre-marketing campaign. So that's basically all the advertising we're going to do to get ready for the Kickstarter launch, so that everybody knows what's coming and we have all those pieces in place. We want to launch the Skuttlebot Kickstarter in June, and that gives us around 6 months to finalize our development, work on the code, and get the manufacturing process running, and do some pre-testing in that. So we're hoping to deliver by 23. So fingers crossed, if everything goes well, we should be having some news about the crowdfunding or excuse me, about Kickstarter in June. Now, that doesn't mean you can't pre-order a Skuttlebot now. We do have some ways that you can show interest, which is actually super important. We're not doing the full price for that. We're just saying, hey, put $20 down. And that lets you have a place in line for when we do actually do those Kickstarter sales. So it just kind of reserves your place in line. So that's available on our website right now. We've also got some merch, some swag on the website as well. So those are also ways that you can go over and help us out. So that's Skuttlebot at Skuttlebot, or excuse me, that's Skuttlebot.com. Remember the K in the name. Some people are still trying to spell Skuttlebot with a C. It's like, nope, it's got a K. So anyway, getting back to it, we will go ahead and hopefully deliver after our first Kickstarter starting in December, and we'll keep delivering the first body, and then we'll be working on additional bodies for Skuttlebot, which gets into a really cool aspect of Skuttlebot. We are planning on doing a cloud-based AI that's going to be driving most of Skuttlebot's functions, which means that you'll be able to take Skuttlebot on your phone. So maybe you need to go travel somewhere. You don't have to leave your Skuttlebot at home. You can still have the digital assistant functions. You can still have the chat functions. It'll be Skuttlebot on your phone, or you could also throw Skuttlebot into a new body. So we're going to be working on multiple bodies for Skuttlebot. So right now we're doing the smaller 6-legged one. We'll probably just do a larger version, a little bit more capabilities and runtime, but we can also go in other directions. And at that point, we're planning on opening it up and also letting other makers create bodies that Skuttlebot will be able to use. So we hope to really expand on the diversity of what you'll be able to give your Skuttlebot to be able to drive around in, so to speak. So yeah, look at it as a digital buddy that can use various robotic bodies as drones. So that's where that's kind of what we're seeing Skuttlebot becoming. Um, Again, a little bit more financial stuff, but what are our projected finances? Um, there's there's a lot that goes into this, and I'm going to go over it just really, really lightly right now. But basically by 2024, end of 2024, we should have delivered 7,000 Scuttlebots hardware out into the world. And we expect that to keep advancing and keep growing. So that gives us, we're in the revenue of millions per month uh, by about mid 2025. That puts a lot of times when you talk to investors, they want to know what your projected valuation is going to be at a certain amount of time. If you are experienced in that or you don't know, we expect to be worth between 2.5 and $5 million by the end of 2025. That's a super important statement for potential investors. This kind of goes and shows what our numbers are planning on being. So again, 7,000 fielded units. There may be some people that don't want to spend the money on a Skuttlebot hardware. They may just want the software. And depending on where that is, depending on what you want it to know about you and how much we're going to protect your data, then there may be a small fee with that on a monthly basis, like anywhere between 10 and 20 bucks. And that'll do a lot of things for you, but we can get into that business model at another time. But that said, what we are seeing there, there's going to be some software instances that will be being sold as well. So we've got, both hardware and software sales that we're planning on doing. By the end of 2025, if we are growing at a rate of 20% per month, and we do our 7,000 sales in 2024, we expect to be at around 65,000 if that holds. So that definitely is part of the reason why we think that we're going to be worth the $2 to $5 million by the end of 2024. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this regulation crowdfunding effort. And this is kind of a cool thing. So you all know, most of you know what Kickstarter is and how you can go and buy a product and support that program before it's necessarily done. And that's super important. That's definitely what we're going to be doing. When you do community equity raises or what's called a regulation crowdfunding raise, you're actually getting an opportunity to buy into the company under the same way. So this is kind of a way that we are looking to gauge interest. We're super community based. We wouldn't be here without this huge fan base, and we're giving people an opportunity to buy into the company. Right now, we are just testing the waters. We're not actually taking money. So what it is that you would go to this website, which is, oh God, that person coming in, which is wefunder.com and /Skuttlebot. And you can find all the details about our proposal, our business plan, and what the offer is there. So typically what you'll see on a program like this is you'll be buying in at, and these are really, really small investments. This can be like anywhere between, $100 and a few $1,000s, which is way different than what you would normally be investing in if you were doing this in a non-crowdfunding way. So usually these are reserved for people who have a lot of money and they're throwing down like, 20K, 30K a pop at minimum. This again is micro investing. So this is kind of geared towards, people that, that want to micro invest, that want to put in, say, hey, I like what you're doing. I believe in Skuttlebot. I'm going to put in $100. Now we do have a couple of tiers of benefits. That is part of this. So like if you invest over $250, there's a reward tier. and that goes up, so like if you want to invest, I forget what the numbers we have right now, I think it's like 3,000, you'll actually be getting a couple of Skuttlebots and you'll be part of the beta program and things like that. So there's definitely some tiers that are based on this. So what happens is that when you invest on a program like this, what it is that there's a stated plan on what that offer is going to be. And it's based on a valuation of the company at a certain point in time. So for example, if I invest $100 into Skuttlebot, when we expect it's going to be worth 20 million or $2 million, when we get to that $2 million point, that's when your $100 converts over into equivalent stock. So that's where you're getting actual equity in the company. Now, the cool thing about that is, for one, right now, especially right now, we're offering a little bit better deal than we'll be offering most people. So this is kind of part of being the perks of being our fans. We offer a little bit better rate. And again, those are all detailed on the website. The other cool thing is, generally when you do evaluation, you end up coming higher than your target. But as you have already agreed to, investing at a certain value at a certain time, you actually get the stock based on what it was that we agreed to. So that means that you're buying in generally at a lower rate than what the company is actually going to be worth. So for example, if you take advantage of this and buy in when, at this $2 million valuation, and we do our evaluation, it turns out we're worth $3 million. Congratulations, you still bought it at the $2 million rate. So you actually end up making money on that. So yeah, there's a couple of cool perks about doing this kind of micro investing. So if you haven't heard about it, I would definitely check out Wefunder. Just explore the site, or obviously please explore our system as well. Had a question on how do we make sure that Skuttlebot is not hackable? Well, that's a really good question. Obviously, if we have robots in the home, we want to make sure that the cameras are secure and things like that. That is honestly a question for our security team. It is something that we are going to be taking very, very seriously. But at this point, we're just way too immature to answer that question. I can't give you the technical because, we just haven't really hit that yet. Is it important to us? Absolutely. Is it something that is high on our development list? Yes, it is. We are very aware, and this is part of our ethical approach to having robots in the home on potential misuse cases. So that is going to be very much at the forefront of what we're thinking about and what we're doing when we continue to develop. And boy, a lot of questions. Are we canvassing medical applications? There are medical applications. They are on our roadmap. So we have a lot of different use cases that we're planning on doing. And we've been approached by the medical community on how, we could potentially do things. So one of the things that has come up is as Skuttlebot is planning, we're planning on having Skuttlebot be able to integrate with your apps and with your IoT devices. Being able to monitor sensors on you would be one of those things. So for example, blood sugar monitoring would be one way that we would have Skuttlebot being able to keep tabs on you and keep aware of how you're doing. And if those go below a certain level, he would let you know. Another thing is just, hey, you've fallen down and you haven't moved off the floor for a certain period of time. Skuttlebot will be able to get help. We can either do that through, text, emails, or maybe even a phone call to an emergency personnel, depending on the setting that you have. Would Skuttlebot have to pay extra for security updates? No, we are planning on, because Skuttlebot's going to be a cloud-based AI, Skuttlebot is actually going to have updates being automatically rolled out. So, so security, especially like that, those would be happening just part of our standard rollouts. Now there may be additional functionality that would be more of on our paid plans. We're still working out that model, but things like security, that would absolutely be just part of our general rollouts that we would not be withholding. That'd be just kind of like standard over the air updates. So let's see. That's all. I think yeah, we have one more slide, but again, definitely check out this Wefunder thing. I think it's a really, really good way to support. Of course, there's other ways to support. We do have the shop on the website. We do have the pre-order option on the website. So definitely do check that out as well. And spread the news about what we're doing. That is really, really huge for us. We want people to know about what we're doing and where we're at. And a massive factor has always been our social media, our crowd of supporters that has spread the word and let us spread virally. We think that we're doing a really, really cool thing here. And we want to make sure that it's right, but we want to make sure that we get the word out there because that's important. It's really, really important to us. Again, we feel like we're just starting with this. What we're doing is, basically human-centered technology that's designed to really, really benefit us as opposed to just exploiting us, which is kind of what we use a lot of our technology for. Bottom line, this is worth doing well. This is worth doing right. We're at a phase where the way that we are developing AI, if we don't start steering it in the right direction, there's no brakes on the AI development. We're just too competitive with each other for that. So we need to make sure that we know where this vehicle is going, and that's part of the mission with Skuttlebot. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut down the presentation, just so you can see Skuttlebot running around the background. But again, TikTokers, really glad to see people popping in. I see that we've got a bunch of folks in here, which is cool. And let's see. I've got a couple more questions on the Zoom channel. Oh, somebody was asking what B2B and B2C means. Those are business terms. Again, this is kind of more investor. There's some investor elements in that presentation. So B2B means business to business. So like if I was a business and I was going to sell to a hospital group or something like that, that would be business to business. And B2C is business to consumer. So primarily we're interested, at least starting off with selling to our fan base, selling to our, the consumers, selling to the folks that have, made Skuttlebot so popular. So that's what when we talk to investors or venture capitalist firms, they ask what our business model is. And we say B2C because we're primarily selling to you guys. We're selling to our fans. Okay. I have another question on what is Skuttlebot's projected cost. We're still trimming that down. There's going to be a lot that we find out, but right now we are planning for Skuttlebot to be retailing around $600. That's right around on par with a lot of the domestic robots that you're seeing that are actually capable. There's a lot of toy robots that don't really do too much. But when you start building in the AI and the autonomous functions, you start to get into that price range. We're going to try to keep it cheaper than that. We're going to try to bring it down lower if we can. But right now, these are the numbers that we're working with, and that's what we're telling people. We look at it this way. It's about the same price as if you invest in a new pet, and you take them to the vet and get them fixed and things like that. You're generally spending that kind of money on a pet for that year. So that's generally the same ballpark is what we're trying to hit. And we just got a lot of questions coming in. Where will Skuttlebot be produced? We are still figuring that out. Right now, most of our planning has been overseas in Asia, but we're also looking at having components made in Mexico as well. And how long before the beta is available? Again, that's going to be really, really dependent on our launch, how our Kickstarter goes, and those kind of things. So we expect to have some betas out. Right now I'm shooting for early November, so we can get them into the hands of the beta testers and start debugging them from there. But there's going to be a lot of variables on that we'll know, and we'll update people on downstream. Okay. TikTokers, thank you so much for joining. We've had 42 of you pop in, which is really, really good. And we definitely had a couple of folks in our Zoom channel as well. A lot of questions coming from Zoom, which is good. I appreciate that. Let's see, is Skuttlebot going to be waterproof? We wouldn't say waterproof, but we're going to say water resistant / resistant. He's not meant to operate underwater, at least not in this build. Further builds might be possible downstream. Okay. I think that I'm gonna actually call this for now. Thank you all for popping in, and thanks Skuttlebot for letting me talk. Yeah, I appreciate it. If you like what we've done, send us a message, send us a PM on through our website, through TikTok, give us a like, make sure you give us a follow if you haven't already followed us. Give us some feedback. Always looking forward to engaging with our fans. Okay, thank you all very much. We're going to sign off for now and call it a really good session. I appreciate you all. Bye-bye.